The current Seth Rollins situation has opened up a big can of worms, so we'll see what's the latest there. We'll also check out what's going on with Becky Lynch, The Vision, and more. Starting things off with where the conversation last left off for when it comes to Seth Rollins and The Vision. Seth said that he didn't need anyone's help and how he's done everything on his own up until this point. And Bron Breakker heard him loud and clear and proceeded to lead a brutal attack on Seth Rollins by the end of the night. The biggest thing we talked about right after this happened was, of course, the timing. Everyone knew the group would end in that fashion, but no one expected it to happen so suddenly and so soon like that. So that's why it was considered such a shocking moment. And there's been a growing group of fans that have been voicing their displeasure with Raw's dullness in recent weeks, and how it always ends in a similar fashion with the same few individuals. Well, this whole breakup with The Vision was that real spark that was needed to shake things up, really awaken the community, and now because of this moment, there's actually a lot of things to talk about and speculate on. An important report that's being attached to Seth's removal from The Vision is apparently news about Seth suffering an arm injury during his match at Crown Jewel against Cody Rhodes. Pictures started making their way online of Seth Rollins walking around the streets of Australia with an arm sling on, and reports are saying that Seth's removal from The Vision was potentially expedited due to this arm injury. There's lots of things floating around right now online, reports and articles that Seth's arm injury is legit, how he might need surgery, and how he may be stripped of the title. But unfortunately, no one is believing a word from these reports due to what the company and Seth Rollins pulled off back in July when they had Seth fake a knee injury as part of an angle. They had Triple H going up to the podium saying that it was looking bad for Seth. They had him lying to his friends, family, and co-workers about the severity of his knee injury. And as we know, it was all fake and part of a big twist for the story. So despite all these reports coming out, you have some fans out there that firmly refuse to be duped for a second time. So they're not believing a word that's said about this alleged Seth Rollins arm injury. So unfortunately, because of what they pulled off this past summer, you got a boy who cried wolf situation developing there for when it comes to Seth Rollins being hurt. Everyone is just waiting patiently to find out the truth of that situation. But in the meantime, a lot of absolutely insane fan theories are going around right now for The Vision and this twist with Seth's removal. Some fans suggested the idea that Seth's entire removal from the group is fake, and is the latest trick that has been schemed up by Rollins and Heyman. First was the fake injury, and now a fake removal from the group just to throw off his opponent CM Punk. Punk just became the #1 contender for the World Heavyweight title. So fans are legitimately wondering if the scheme here is that Seth staged his own removal from The Vision just to make CM Punk more comfortable, bring Punk's guard down a bit, and make Punk believe that he'll have a fair crack at Seth Rollins one-on-one, now that he's no longer with The Vision. So CM Punk wouldn't be on high alert for The Vision anymore, therefore making him more vulnerable to an attack from them. With the recent rumblings of Austin Theory joining The Vision, some fans threw that idea into this scenario as well. What if Austin Theory's Vision debut is to save Seth's title from CM Punk, and then the rest of The Vision comes down the ramp to reunite with Seth Rollins and laugh in everyone's faces for falling for the breakup and how they caught everyone again? After what they did at SummerSlam with Seth's fake injury, you really can't write anything off for this specific character to do, because it's very possible for him to play that dirty, especially when it involves a title match against CM Punk. Remember that Seth swore that as long as there was air in his lungs, CM Punk would never hold world title gold again in WWE. And so far, Seth Rollins has absolutely lived up to that promise. He screwed Punk over a numerous amount of ways during the last few years, even including that scummy fake injury tactic. So would Seth really stoop that low to fake his own removal from his own faction just so he can get a psychological edge over CM Punk and once again stop him from winning the world title? It feels kind of insane to say, but the answer seems like yes. It is in the realm of possibility, knowing Seth's true hatred for CM Punk. There is no limits to what Seth is willing to do as long as he can prevent Punk from winning world title gold. But at the same time, it does look like a horrific idea, because if this is a scheme and Seth pulls one over on everyone's head again, with his staged removal from The Vision, it's going to weaken the blow for when the group actually does break up in the future. Because once it really happens again down the line, it won't have that same impact and no one would believe it. So that's the big bust to the fake Vision removal fan theory. It's insane, it's bizarre, it's fun to discuss, but doesn't seem like the most realistic direction for the story. Regarding Seth's apparent injury, everyone learned their lesson about that, so everyone will wait that out and see what the facts are. But the Vision's betrayal does feel like that match that lit a little fire under Raw. Monday Night Raw needed something new and big like this to really change up the foundation of the show. The Vision was cool when they were all together, but definitely this breakup is by far their hottest and most interesting angle. Seth's partnership with Paul Heyman and time inside the Vision lasted right around 170 days, so by far the shortest amount of time Seth has ever spent in a faction. Even his Messiah faction from late 2019 lasted longer than the Vision. But again, like everyone was saying, not every faction has to stick around for an endless amount of years. So they struck early, but telling by the reaction amongst the community, the fans are intrigued, and now they're interested to see where this all goes next. And there's still a lot more fan theories and ideas we'll get into in the coming days. Speaking of the big Vision moment, Becky Lynch finally broke her silence on the big twist. Becky did not travel to WWE for this recent trip to Australia. Within the storyline world, Becky's character decided to give herself some time off due to the frustration of dealing with crooked referees in WWE. So Becky was not at ringside and not backstage for that big betrayal moment from the Vision onto Seth Rollins. Becky took to her social media platforms to react to the moment by saying, "I'm gone for 1 week." And Becky is right, that's all it took, 1 week away, and the Vision crumbled on Seth Rollins. In the first Vision betrayal breakdown, we discussed how Seth's removal also has to mean Becky's removal from the group as well, and that still seems to be the case there. We'll probably see some more interactions between Becky and Seth on their own, but as far as with the Vision, it appears that they're both fully done. Becky will be back on this upcoming edition of Raw to defend her Intercontinental title against Maxine, and there's a nice narrative brewing there. Maxine and Becky met in a few matches so far this year, and they've all been telling a flowing story. The first time Becky and Maxine met earlier this year, it was mostly a complete mismatch that saw Becky mostly mop the floor with Maxine. But during their recent second match with each other, Maxine was extremely more impressive and more competitive. She hung in there with Becky and even scored the win over Becky via that countout. So now for this third meeting here, it should keep that narrative going of Maxine continuing to improve and really taking Becky to her limits. So judging by how that story has been going, it seems possible that Maxine could get a couple of near falls here during this match and get close to beating Becky. Will Maxine actually score the win and take the title off of Becky? Probably not, but it surely seems like there'll be some close calls there that will really keep the fans on the edge of their seats. Everyone loves a good underdog story, so Maxine will be extremely easy for everyone to root for in this match. Everyone wants to see her do the impossible and dethrone Becky Lynch. Another thing to keep an eye on here is who exactly will be the referee for this match. Becky's recent displeasures with the officiating in her matches came with Jessica Carr serving as the referee for both of those matches that Becky had issues with. So it'll be interesting to see if Jessica Carr is once again the referee for this Becky versus Maxine match, because if she is, surely something is brewing there, and we'll see Jessica and Becky probably advance their little feud with each other there as well. But what are your thoughts on today's stories? Leave your comments below. Don't forget to subscribe with all notifications on, and leave a like if you enjoyed. Thanks for watching, guys.